2016, a new TV show hit the digital airwaves and needed a podcast dedicated to chronicling its adventures. An elite team has been assembled for this task. Unfortunately, the world's listeners have not heard of this wonder twin duo. And although they may not be known now, in the future they will be referred to as tomorrow's legends.
This is John Constantine.
I am an accomplished warlock, an expert of the occult, and a master of exorcism.
Hello, Legendaires. Welcome back to the bonus episodes of Tomorrow's Legends. I am Harley Quinn, and once again, I am bringing you my reaction to the live-action Constantine series, which aired on NBC in 2014. And today, I am covering the second episode of the series called The Darkness Beneath. All right, so let's get into it. What was my reaction to this episode? All right, so very first thing that I noticed was that the woman, she's obviously very afraid of her husband. She clearly disliked being married to him, but either way, it's a pretty terrible way to go, being burned alive. So that was a very interesting way to start the episode. I would definitely say it gives you a good feel for what the Constantine show is going to be, and the tone of it definitely pretty dark. And actually, I'm going to say the first time that I watched this, because again, for this particular episode, it is the second time I've seen it, I didn't suspect her at all. I totally fell for it. I assumed it was the priest, and I kind of went along for the ride. So when at the end it kind of came back around to being the wife, I was actually a little bit surprised. So this time, obviously, I kind of knew what was coming, but it was still a good watch. So I absolutely loved the theme music, and the introduction, the way that they're doing this theme song. And I love that they have pulled that over into Legends to kind of get that little nod of, hey, this is a Constantine scene. I really love that. I love the music. I think Jeff posted in the Facebook group that it was, I want to say it was Bear McCreary that does it. So I'm definitely going to go check that out and check out more of what he does as well. Just a funny note on Constantine, just about the character in general. I mean, really, who brings a frozen dinner to a funeral? I thought it was a hilarious touch. I mean, obviously, who doesn't want to show up empty-handed? But a frozen dinner, really? I mean, you couldn't, go for a pie or something a little less conspicuous. So funny. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about some of the magic and kind of the way they're using his magic. So I loved the spell that he did with the water in the church, where he pours it over his head, and when he looks through the water, he can kind of see like the evil spirit that's in the church. So I just thought that was so cool, and I'd love to see some more of that stuff. So I really hope they do more similar things like that throughout the series. And I'd actually love it if they brought some of that stuff on Legends, because I feel like they've kind of changed some of his magic for Legends. I mean, each time he's cast a spell so far in the series, in the Constantine series, he's added like blood or something to it. Kind of like to reiterate that he's paying that price, and it's kind of taking that toll on him. So I don't know if they thought that was too dark for Legends, or if he's just using different types of magic, because he definitely relies on like incantations and potions in Legends, but we've not seen him do really this type of a spell. So I think that would be cool to see, not only throughout the rest of this series, but I'd love to see them bring that into Legends as well. I mean, I really think the only time we've seen him use, quote, like something of himself was when he was kind of siphoning off his own life force, and he had transferred it to that boy at the summer camp. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see how far they explore his magic and kind of how his magic works in this series, just to see the differences to how they've changed that in Legends. Okay, I'm going to talk about Zed for a little bit. I really like her. I definitely like her character better than Liv, for sure. I think it's funny that she notes that she travels a lot. She's definitely running from something. I mean, she says she's running from something, so I'm wondering if that something happens to be supernatural. like how it ties into this darkness that is spreading that Constantine keeps talking about, that Manny was talking about. I mean, I think this has got to be all tied together, right? Maybe Zed had some sort of vision. I don't know. So I'll be interested to see more on that. And I think her powers could really be very useful. So I'm assuming she sticks around, especially since they wrote Liv off of the show. So I'm guessing she's kind of the replacement for her, or I know she's the replacement for her. So I'd like to see her stick around. I think her powers are a little bit cooler. I think they're a lot more useful. And I would like to learn more about her backstory, more about what she's running from. I mean, and honestly, I don't entirely trust her. I mean, she's super persistent. I mean, she definitely needs or wants something else from Constantine that she's not exactly saying. So I'll be interested to see more about that. And then the last thing, I'm just going to kind of throw this out as a question. Like, do we learn more about Chaz? I'd like to learn more about him. I was kind of disappointed he wasn't in this episode. I'm curious to learn a little bit more about him and how his, quote, powers work. So I'm hoping we get a little bit more answers to that in the next, 10 episodes I think I've got to go. So that's really all I had to say about this particular episode. Pretty short, pretty to the point, but I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the tone of it. I mean, it's definitely dark, but I kind of dig that. So I'm gonna be excited to see what they have in store for us for the rest of the series.
At 4810. You never saw me, and everything is perfectly normal.
All right, everyone. So that's it. This one was short and sweet. Not a whole lot to say, but if you are looking for a more detailed podcast dedicated to this series, I would highly recommend you listen to The Devil You Know, a Constantine podcast. You can find it over on goldenspiralmedia.com, and there's a link on our blog post if you need to go directly to them covering this episode, if you'd like to check that out. Also, I'm going to be sure to try and post in the Facebook group when I'm starting each episode, so those of you who are watching and rewatching with me kind of know where I'm at in the series. That being said, I do want to stick to a regular release for the reaction podcast, so I may try and watch a bunch, especially while Arrow and Flash are on hiatus too. But I'm not going to release them all at the same time. I don't want to dump 10 in everybody's feed. So anyway, I'm just going to kind of get them recorded. So if you see me posting a bunch that I'm watching and not releasing, that's why. So thanks for sticking with me. And until next time, this is Harley Quinn. I'm out.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast Network.